let's get real for a second. We all talk about what happens before sex, the flirting, the chemistry, the build-up, the desire. But have you ever stopped and thought about what actually goes through a man's mind right after? Because that's the part no one really talks about. And yet, it's the most telling moment of all. Think about it during the act. Adrenaline is high, passion is overflowing, and everything feels electric. But right after, that's when everything slows down. That's when the truth sneaks in. And a lot of women misread that moment. You see him go quiet, roll over, or close his eyes, and you think, well, I guess that's it. He's done, checked out, ready to sleep. But here's the secret: most women don't realize that's not the whole story. In fact, in that exact moment, right after he finishes, men have a very specific fantasy, a fantasy that isn't about round two, isn't about porn-level acrobatics, and isn't even about the physical at all. It's deeper than that, because the truth is sex doesn't end when the climax does. For a man, what happens after is just as important as what happens during. And if you know what he secretly wants in that raw, vulnerable space, you have the power to completely shift how he sees you. Not as someone who just gave him pleasure, but as someone unforgettable, someone he bonds with, someone he wants more of, not just tonight, but tomorrow, next week, and every day after. So today, I'm going to break down exactly what that fantasy is and how you can tap into it in 5 powerful ways. Trust me, if you've ever wanted a man to crave you long after the sheets cool down, this is the key. The Fae 1 fantasy guys have right after they finish isn't what most women think. You might imagine he's already dreaming about round 2, or that his mind has jumped to the most outrageous thing he's ever seen in a movie. But the truth, his biggest fantasy in that moment has nothing to do with another position, another performance, or another wild idea. What he really craves, though he may never say it out loud, is connection. See, here's the thing about men. Yes, they love sex. They love the thrill of it. But right after that release, there's a shift that happens. For a few minutes, all the noise, all the ego, all the performance pressure, it disappears. And what's left in that vulnerable, unguarded state is a desire that runs much deeper than physical. He wants to feel that you don't just see him as a body. He wants to feel that you want him, not just what he can do for you in the bedroom, not just the way he touches you, but him as a man. This is where most women underestimate how powerful they can be in that moment. Because while he may look like he's checked out, the reality is that his mind is quietly searching for reassurance. Did that mean something to her? Was I more than just a quick release? Do I matter to her outside of the sex? And when you give him the subtle signals that say, yes, you matter to me, you fulfill the exact fantasy he doesn't even know how to put into words. It's why something as small as staying close, looking into his eyes, or softly touching his chest after can mean the world. It tells him he's not just desired for what his body can provide, but for who he is when all the guards are down. And this is where you separate yourself from every other woman he's been with. Because plenty of people can give him pleasure, but not everyone can make him feel wanted beyond the physical. When you lean into this, you completely change the way he associates intimacy with you. He stops seeing sex as just something fun you two do together, and he starts linking it with safety, closeness, and meaning. And believe me, when a man finds that combination in a woman, he doesn't just want to keep sleeping with her, he starts craving her in his life. So the next time you're wondering what's really going through his head in that moment right after, don't be fooled into thinking it's only about exhaustion or indifference. His number one fantasy isn't another wild move. It's knowing that in your eyes, he's more than just the act you shared. And when you can show him that, you become unforgettable in a way no performance ever could. One of the biggest myths about men is that they're completely confident in the bedroom, that once it's over, they just roll over with a smug grin, feeling like kings who conquered the moment. But the truth is far more human and honestly far more vulnerable than that. Right after he finishes, a man's mind can go into a quiet spiral. He may not show it on his face, he may not speak it out loud, but inside he's asking himself questions. Was that good enough? Did she enjoy it? Did I satisfy her, or did I fall short? And this is where his true fantasy lies, not in hearing you scream his name again, not in another round 5 minutes later, but in feeling desired, not judged. See, men carry more insecurities in the bedroom than they'll ever admit. Society tells us that men are supposed to be machines of endless stamina, flawless performance, and mind-blowing moves every single time. That's a heavy expectation to live under. So when the act is over, he craves one thing above all else: confirmation that in your eyes he was more than enough. His fantasy isn't about you critiquing his rhythm or comparing him to someone else. It's about you looking at him with desire even after the climax, with energy that says, I wanted you not just sex, you made me feel good. I love being here with you. And here's where you have so much power, because the smallest gestures in that delicate moment can either feed his insecurities or erase them completely. A smile, a kiss, a playful comment, or just reaching out to pull him close, it all sends the message that you're not sitting there evaluating his performance like a judge on a talent show. Instead, you're enjoying him as a man. That's the reassurance his ego ache is for. When you show him that he's not being measured, but appreciated, something shifts inside of him. He doesn't just remember the act, he remembers the way he felt in your presence. He remembers feeling safe, confident, and accepted. And here's the kicker: once a man feels that way with you, he begins to crave you on a much deeper level. He doesn't just come back because the sex was good. He comes back because you make him feel good about himself. That is addictive. So while other women may unintentionally make him doubt himself with silence, indifference, or even subtle withdrawal, you can stand out by doing the opposite. You can lean into that moment and make him feel wanted, respected, and appreciated. And that doesn't mean fake praise or over the top theatrics. It means genuinely showing him that you enjoyed what happened. And even more than that, you enjoy him. That you see him not as a flawed human to critique, but as a man you're drawn to. When you do that, you fulfill his most unspoken fantasy. You transform his inner doubts into inner pride. And once you do that, he doesn't just fantasize about being with you again. He can't stop thinking about you because you've become the rare person who makes him feel both powerful and at peace at the same time. Most people assume that after a man finishes, he only wants two things: food or sleep. And yes, sometimes that's true. But what most women don't realize is that one of the strongest fantasies men have in that moment isn't about either. It's about playfulness. That carefree, lighthearted energy that keeps the intimacy alive even after the physical part is over. Here's why this matters. Sex is vulnerable, it's intense, it strips away walls, and right after, the energy can feel heavy if it isn't handled with care. That's why so many guys fantasize about laughter in that moment. A silly comment, a playful tease, or just a giggle that reminds him that yes, you were just passionately intimate, but you're also best friends who can be goofy and relaxed together. It makes the connection feel multidimensional. Think about it this way: if sex is the fire, then playfulness is the spark that keeps it glowing. Men may not say this out loud, but deep down they love when the atmosphere doesn't suddenly go flat or serious. A cheeky whisper like, "You're trouble, you know that?" Or a joking, "You better not fall asleep on me now," adds levity that bonds him to you. It shifts the moment from just being about bodies to being about personalities colliding in the best way. This kind of playfulness also reassures him. It tells him you're comfortable, you're satisfied, and you're enjoying the afterglow just as much as the act itself. And more importantly, it signals that sex with you isn't transactional, it's an experience. It's joy, it's connection wrapped in fun. When you bring that playful energy, you become unforgettable because most people don't know how to make intimacy light. Men fantasize about this because it keeps them from feeling used or disposable. If after everything you laugh with him, tease him, or flirt like you did before things heated up, it makes him feel like you're still attracted, still engaged, and still drawn to him. That's intoxicating. It makes him feel like the fun doesn't end when the climax does. It keeps going, and it makes him crave more of you, not just physically, but emotionally. And let's be honest, there's nothing sexier than a woman who can switch between passionate and playful with ease. Imagine the power of giving him a moment that's hot and intense, followed by one that's light and cheeky. That balance is what men dream of because it makes intimacy feel natural, not forced, not staged, and not heavy. So while most women overthink what to do after, should I cuddle? Should I give him space? The truth is, often the sexiest thing you can do is laugh, play, tease him like you're still flirting. That's the fantasy he doesn't say out loud, but it's the one that leaves him lying there thinking, God, I love being around this woman. And when you can make a man feel that you stop being someone he just sleeps with and you become someone he can't get enough of in every sense. Here's something most men will never admit even to themselves. After sex, when they've just finished and the room goes quiet, secretly crave something they often pretend not to need. They crave being held. Now, if you asked them outright, many men would laugh it off. They'd say, "I don't need cuddles, I'm fine." Or they'd mask it with jokes about being tough and independent. But underneath that mask, in those vulnerable minutes, there's a part of him that fantasizes about closeness, about you reaching out and pulling him into your warmth. Why? Because right after sex, he's exposed. The performance, the bravado, the control, it all fades away in that moment. For a few minutes, he's not the confident guy cracking jokes or the one putting on a front in the world. He's just himself. And in that raw state, he craves comfort, reassurance, and connection. It's not that he wants to be mothered. It's that he wants to feel like he's safe to let his guard down with you. Think about how powerful it is when you rest your head on his chest, when your hand gently runs down his arm, or when you simply wrap him in your embrace. It might look like a small action, but to him, it communicates volumes. It says, "I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. You're not just a body I shared a moment with. You're someone I want to be close to." And that right there is his secret fantasy, to be seen as more than just a partner in the act, to be seen as a man you want to hold on to. Men often live with the pressure of being the strong one. They're taught to carry the weight, to never show weakness, to always be in control. But intimacy flips that on its head. When you hold him, you give him permission to stop performing. You give him a rare chance to just be. And believe me, once a man feels that kind of peace with you, it's addictive. It's not just that he enjoys sex with you. It's that he starts to associate you with safety, with comfort, with a feeling he can't find anywhere else. And here's the kicker: when you initiate that closeness, you actually make him feel more masculine, not less. Because he doesn't feel needy or weak for wanting it. He feels chosen. He feels desired in a way that tells him, even in my most unguarded state, she wants me. That's a fantasy no amount of physical tricks can ever match. So while he might not say it out loud, and while he may even brush it off, deep down, what he truly fantasizes about after he finishes is that moment of being held by you. That quiet closeness that makes the passion mean something more. And when you give him that, you stop being just another chapter in his story. You become the part he never wants to close. There's a moment right after sex that very few people talk about, but it's one of the most important. It's that instant where the passion has peaked, the adrenaline is fading, and everything slows down. For men, this can be a strange, almost uncomfortable moment because it strips away all the performance and leaves them exposed. And here's the thing, his secret fantasy in that moment isn't just to be held or reassured, it's to still be seen as sexy in your eyes. You see, before and during intimacy, a man is in performance mode. He's trying to impress, to excite, to satisfy. His body is alive, his energy is strong, and he feels desirable. But the second it's over, there's a shift. His body relaxes, his drive drops, and for many men, that's when insecurity creeps in. He wonders if the magic is gone for you now. He thinks, does she still find me attractive, or was that it? Am I only desirable when I'm performing, or does she still want me when I'm lying here vulnerable and raw? This is why his fantasy is simple but powerful. He wants you to show him through your actions, your words, your eyes, that you still find him irresistible after. That the desire isn't over just because the act is. When you lean over and kiss him, when you whisper something cheeky like, "God, you're so sexy," or when you just look at him with hunger in your eyes, even after the passion has cooled, you ignite something inside of him that most women never think about. You make him feel wanted, not just for what he does, but for who he is in his most unguarded state. And here's the beauty of it. When you make a man feel sexy in that moment, you feed his confidence in a way that lasts far beyond the bedroom. He doesn't just walk away thinking, "We had great sex." He walks away thinking, "She sees me, she wants me, I'm desirable to her even when I'm not trying." That's the kind of affirmation men secretly crave because it makes them feel valued, powerful, and deeply connected. Think about how rare this is. Most men only ever feel desired when they're chasing, when they're working, when they're on. But imagine how unforgettable you become when you flip the script and show him that he's still magnetic after the act is over. That's when he associates you not just with pleasure, but with validation, attraction, and love. And that's when you stop being the woman he slept with and you become the woman he fantasizes about when you're not around. So don't underestimate the power of your eyes, your touch, your words in that quiet moment after. Because for him, the ultimate fantasy isn't just that you enjoyed the sex, it's that you still see him as sexy even when the show is over. And when you give him that, you create a bond he'll never be able to shake. So ladies, let's bring this all together. The Fae 1 fantasy men have right after they finish isn't about another wild position or an instant replay of what just happened. It's about connection. It's about being reassured, desired, held, and seen as sexy even after the act is over. It's about knowing that you want him, not just the performance, not just the pleasure, but the man behind it all. When you understand that you unlock a level of intimacy most women never tap into. Because yes, passion is amazing, but what truly makes you unforgettable is how you make him feel in those quiet, vulnerable moments afterward. That's when bonds are built. That's when he stops seeing you as just someone he slept with and starts seeing you as someone he can't stop thinking about. So here's my challenge for you. The next time you're in that moment, don't underestimate your power. Don't rush it. Don't pull away too quickly. Instead, lean into it. Smile at him, tease him, hold him, or just let your eyes say, "You're still mine." That small shift can make all the difference in how deeply he craves you long after the lights are out. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed a man's energy shift right after intimacy? Did this speech open your eyes to what he might actually be feeling? Drop your experiences and thoughts in the comments below, because I love hearing your stories. If you found this helpful, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more relationship secrets and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. And remember, true connection isn't built during the fireworks. It's built in the quiet moments right after. Master those moments and you'll have his mind, his heart, and his desire all wrapped around you.